Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. If you missed my last video, I dug into this saw, found out what the problem was. It was actually the same problem on my 20 AV that caused it to explode. The carb wasn't delivering enough gas, and it was delivering just as much air as it should, but the lower side that pumps fuel, the metering valve and pilot valve, or pilot needle, it wasn't opening all the way. And it wasn't allowing enough fuel to get in there and really charge the saw. For some reason on this one it was running good at full throttle. I guess it's just, you know, able to run it a little bit lean. But this video I'm going to be actually porting this saw, and it's going to be a light port. I don't have the degree wheel, but watching enough videos, again, Tin Man Iron Horse, thank you so much, showing us all how to port these saws. I do have a degree wheel on the way. I just can't wait. And it's going to be really mild, and from what I've seen, like a degree is equal to about 15 thousandths or so. I've got calipers, I know how to measure, I know what I'm doing a little bit while I'm waiting on the parts, but it's basically lowering the floor of your intake, raising the roof of your exhaust, cleaning up your exhaust and your intake ports, and maybe opening up these transfers a little bit. So we're going to go through all of that from a beginner's perspective. Maybe it'll help you when I get the degree wheel. I'm going to come back and maybe do it again. But we'll do that and put some new rings on it, and we'll see what it does. I just noticed when I was cutting down those big trees, I know it's only a 50cc saw. It's not gonna, and my chain was, the rakers were down a little bit. That Stihl kind of all-in-one raker, taker downer, sharpener dealy. I think it took my rakers down too far, so I was really trying to take too much wood at a time, especially with a little saw like this. But I mean, that still, it was bogging, and you know, it was running not as good as I would like it to. So I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more power out of it, and maybe we can continue to use it for those bigger trees. That was soft pine. And you know, if you want to go back and check that video out, make sure to subscribe so you can look on my page and then go over to videos, and then you can kind of scroll back through there and see some of those. There's one with like a picture of the holding wood there. But anyways, that's how it was running, and we're going to see if we can make it run better. So let's see if we can dig in here, and I'll show you on the jug here kind of what I learned, and we can talk about what I'm going to do. Maybe you want to do the same thing. So welcome to Man Time. So let's start by getting our jug off here. I ended up going out, and after talking about using the wrong tools, went out and bought some Pittsburgh long extension Allen heads. Turns out this is still the wrong tool. It won't go down in the jug. So we're going to continue to use the Pittsburgh T-handles. Yeah, that's a little sloppy. And yeah, they'll work just as good as using something. This is actually a really good tool. I was actually trying it out. It has a locking mechanism, so you can get it in there, get it seated, and then break it and then spin it out. I really like the 12-volt stuff. It's light, it's handy. You know, I like lightweight that works. But let's get these spun off of here, and then we'll look close at this piston and really kind of decide and talk about what I'm doing here. Thing I wanted to show you guys real quick. You don't need a lathe if you are running low on compression and you've checked your piston and your rings. Man, look at how good this piston looks. I mean, not a scratch on it. I mean, just beautiful. I've got a new set of rings I was going to put on here. I'm going to check the rings by putting them in the cylinder and using the piston to square them up and check the squish dimension in between them at the ends there. But 150 psi, I'm super happy with that, so I'm not really concerned about the squish. And that's where you put something under there and rotate the piston up and down to get more compression. 150 psi seems plenty to me. But if you're looking to get more, you need to what they call deck or remove material off the bottom of your jug. And everybody that talks about you need to have a lathe and you need to have mandrels to, you know, mount it on. Lucky me, I don't have a lip that comes out of the piston here. So what I can do is just take a piece of sandpaper and something really, really flat, machined flat surface, and just run it. I guarantee you, you do this enough, you're gonna remove material. And I've already removed material. There was machining marks on the bottom of this, and those are gone. So I'm just giving myself every opportunity here to increase the power of the saw. Again, I'm not porting it by the degree method. I am just going to look at this piston and decide where it needs flow or where it lacks flow and try to give it more flow. So this is kind of going back to the dirt bike days. I mean, I've been a gearhead mechanicing on cars and dirt bikes and stuff since, well, my first vehicle was a 1969 Trail 70 that I got from yard mowing money when I was about 10 or 11, and my dad helped me rebuild the engine on that. Of course, nitro RC cars, stuff like that, growing up. And it's all about creating flow, creating compression, and that's what we're going to do in this video. So let's, so you can see there, it's that gray. That's material, and you can see how nice and shiny of a surface that is. I'm not trying to take off much at all. I want this to be the finish pass. I'm just cleaning it up, basically. And that's what I'm going to do for this whole piston. Like these transfers here, these are what they call the transfers. It's got a hard lip right on the inside there, and that's where gas, atomized gas and fuel, or atomized gas, yeah, air and fuel, comes up and goes into the top of the piston to be then exploded to make your, you know, compression or your power. But it's got a hard lip right there. So all I'm going to do is clean that up and blend it down. On the exhaust side, I'm going to raise that up a little bit just by coming in here with my Dremel and a carbide burr. And then on the intake side, again, cleaning everything up. It's got kind of what they call a tonsil. I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit and, again, just clean it up. Keep that same shape. Come down maybe a thousandth or two. And, or a thousandth. 10, 15, 20 thousandths, something like that. But I'm going to mark it in there and then just go to cleaning it up. So that's all we're going to do. Minimal power gains. The exhaust I can get a little bit greedier with because the RPMs on this saw are so slow. I really want to try to speed that up. So I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive on the what they call the roof of the exhaust. It's on the inside of the piston. This side of it facing up is the roof. So I want to get a little aggressive in there and maybe 20, 30 thousandths and then clean it up and polish it out. But I'm going to start with that, just getting that nice and flat and clean. And then I've got to make a gasket. If you want to know how to make your own gaskets, I've got a video on that right after I built that 020. The gas tank was leaking. And old stuff like this, you aren't going to be able to, you know, find it easily, like going to your local Stihl shop. When I brought this saw into my Stihl shop, they called it an antique. So I've called it an antique ever since then. I don't know if that's a sales pitch. That was actually one of the techs that called it an antique. But anyways, that's the plan. Let me make a gasket here, and yeah, then we can just go to cleaning it up. All right. Whew. Wow, another good time to wear safety glasses when you're using a burr tool. My goodness. All right, so one pro tip for you here, if you're going to attempt this, especially for the first time, use a straight bit. Air likes to travel in straight directions, and if I tried using a rounded bit, and it was just not working. I mean, I was digging in some spots and some spots not. But using the round bit or the flat bit, it helps you to think like air, because you're putting flat surfaces, you're making flat surfaces inside the ports. And so you can very easily see those high spots and start working those down to make flat spots. I didn't really do anything to like raise the deck and the floor, maybe a little bit on the exhaust side, raised the roof a little bit, and then on the intake side lowered the deck a little bit. And then I went back in there with a diamond ball tool. So start off with the straight burr, then go to the diamond ball for your chamfer, and then I ended up going with a small barrel sander for the final passes. And then I'm going to go through and use the fine sandpaper on a little kind of like a needle burr tool that you just put a little sheet of sandpaper in there. But yeah, I mean, basically I was just finishing, kind of what I felt like I was doing was just giving the cylinder what it wanted, right? It wants straight lines to go in and out. So that's what I tried to do. Just give it, you know, a straight shot out, a straight shot in, leaving that little tonsil that's in there. And then on the transfers, which are going to be these guys here, let's see if I can get it in the light there. A little bit, maybe. It's hard to see. But just giving those, again, a straight shot. And, you know, all this stuff, it's almost like what I felt like I was doing was just finishing the cylinder. Like it was kind of just all raw casting and, you know, chunks of parting lines and casting lines and rough spots, you know, from the sand cast and all that. And so I was just trying to put straight lines and basically just finish what the cylinder wanted done to it in the first place. So hopefully it works out. I'm going to put the saw back together. We'll fire it up here and see what the difference is. Well, just kind of getting things back together here. I've got my piston on there. I've got my cylinder all cleaned up and ready. Yeah, just make sure you're double checking everything. Again, when I put my piston on, I don't have any sort of tool to crimp down the O-rings, or I'm sorry, the piston rings. But like I said, you have to line them up with a little dowel and then kind of squish them together as the cylinder is going on there, and get down, look up under there, and there's a nice chamfer on the inside of this, which is going to compress it as it goes in. So just nice and easy. Don't use a hammer or anything. Just hand pressure and moving this around as you're getting it back together. Got my gasket made. I'm going to get this back together and then we'll fire it up and see how it sounds. Alright, let's just real quick kind of get in here and try to get a good look at what went on here. Might be a little hard to see, and of course it's never going to focus when you want it to. But again, just tried to do straight lines. It is actually smooth in there. It doesn't look, you know, mere glass finish, but I mean, for my first time, you know, I'm not going to say anything. Proof will be in the pudding, right? See how it sounds. Okay, I think that does it, folks. We got our cylinder ported, basically just cleaned up. Heights moved maybe a little bit. Compression was good to begin with. Shaved down the bottom just a little bit. Going back together there, you just want to make sure to use Loctite on all the screws. Other than that, fairly simple. You took it apart, you're putting it back together. I did drill some holes inside of here. I left my spark arrestor on there because, believe it or not, starting to fire in the middle of the force scares the crap out of me. So rather than have straight, direct sparks coming out, I'd rather not. So, I mean, let's just try to start it here. Yeah, we're ready. Promising. Yeah, this thing is just pouring fuel out. It was loading up, so I guess it was running a little bit rich. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to rebuild this carb, and then we'll try it out. All right, for all you guys out there that have rebuilt carbs, you probably already know this, but this screen can actually look clean and be dirty. This diaphragm here can look good and actually not work. It is actually really important to have this metering deal set exactly where it's supposed to be at, and I probably should have just changed it out, but I didn't. And let's see, this gasket here, I'm just going to go ahead and change everything out. So I've got the K10 WAT Walbro kit, and it has a bunch of other stuff. And this isn't even... This is the Chinese version of it, I guess. But I ordered some more of these. I also ordered the metering tool. And you want to hear something really funny. I went and had to get some parts. And I was at the chainsaw shop. And I said, you know, do you have any of those Walbro and Zama metering tools? And they said, we can't sell them. It would be a $10,000 fine or something ridiculous. Something really ridiculous. So, I'm just going to go ahead and start over on this girl, and we'll just replace everything. With the new one here, I should get an idea of what it's factory set at and adjust it out from there. So, let's get all this stuff changed out, and we'll come back when we got everything back to brand new. You want to make really sure and be careful when you're taking these apart, because a little ball could fall out, and then, you know, now you need a new carb. This one doesn't. This one uses other methods to do that. But one tip that I can give you here, when you remove your jets, scribe H and L on them, so you know where they're going back. This one here is going to be the low. Take a quick look at these here. So the low is going to have a shorter kind of tip on it than the high. And yeah, if you see yourself getting, you know, down the wrong path, make sure to keep things organized and as neat as you can, so that way you don't mix up new parts with old parts. And spray out all your orifices here with air, and also with some carbon choke cleaner. That's going to help you to make sure everything is clean, and, you know, once you get it back together, it should work right. So, also want to clean up these mating surfaces, get all the stuff off of there. So, all right, pretty simple. Just put it back together, just the way you took it apart. All right, man, I've got the carb rebuilt. I'm really hopeful here. Really took my time going through it there. Before you start it up, quit saying and know where your high and low jets are and your idle screw, and know where they're at to begin with. So I'm a turn and a half out. That's just old habit. I don't know where it's going to be the most happy now that we did a little bit of head work and a fresh carb and a clean filter, and actually this is a new chain. But anyways, let's fire it up here. We're going to need to choke it, get some gas going into that carb. Okay, let's turn our choke off. Why do I already have gas right there leaking? Well. Alright, man, what do you think? Is it cutting good? If you think so, go ahead and give a thumbs up down there. Subscribe. We're going to talk about a little bit what all happened there. So went through, ported the jug, very mild. Again, just cleaned it up, polished it out, used those sanding drums to clean it up a little bit. Rebuilt the carb. This saw is 100% now. I don't know what you thought about those cuts, but it seems like it just picked up. You know, it just picked up a little bit. Maybe picked up a little bit on the RPM, picked up a little bit on the speed. I'm super pleased with it. I'm going to be using this saw for many, many years to come. Again, the people that are making these things endlessly rebuildable still, like they were back in the late 60s, early 70s, man, my hat's off to you. You know, keep up the good work. Keep making products that we can rebuild, that'll last, and that we can, and keep building the spare parts, right? The people that are running the supply lines and keeping the spare parts coming, man, thanks so much. Alright, well that's going to do it for today on Man Time, guys. Get out there, port your saw. Clean it up. Make it run right. That's what I do. The first video on this channel, matter of fact, was me running my old 350. And I finally put it up when I rebuilt this one and got this one running so good, put so much time and effort into it. But also it kind of started running like crap. I bet the carb just needs rebuilt on it and it'll be back up to life. But anyways, go check that out. Thanks for joining me today on Man Time, guys. Get out there. Have you some man time too.